going on, you guys? Jazz out here in Singapore, and as always, thank you so much for joining me on the Night Owl podcast. You guys, it's been crazy. I can feel it like ticking down already all the way up to 1,000 episodes, and I can't thank you guys enough for being with me throughout this journey, or even if it is sparsely, right? You know, bits and pieces here and there. I'm glad. I'm glad you're listening. I'm glad you're feeding back to me. I'm glad you're finding value in this content. And for me, I'm enjoying this. It's almost like me journaling, but on audio, and I'm happy to share all of my trials and tribulations, happy to share the pieces of, clarity that I suddenly get so that maybe you can actually, apply it in your own lives if the shoe fits, if it's appropriate for you. But today I kind of want to talk to you about the fact that imagination is everything. I was listening to a podcast episode earlier, and there was a clip in there that said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. And if you really think about it, imagination is the only limit. Your imagination. If you can dream it up in your brain, you can find the ways and means in the real world to actually put it together and make it a real thing. I mean, look at me. I started 3 years ago, and I'm about to hit 1,000, you guys, 1,000 episodes on a podcast. And I gotta say, I'm excited because I never thought I would ever be able to catch up to anywhere near what Gary Vee has done. But obviously he has several podcasts and he has a team working for him. But guess what? Nose to the grindstone, putting it together bit by bit. And here I am clawing my way to 1,000 episodes. And I really, really feel good about that. But more than that, the imagination that they were talking about in this podcast episode was kind of relaying the fact that somewhere out there, somebody had a dream and decided iPhones were a thing. They needed to be a thing. They needed to have Macintosh in the first place. I remember watching Steve Jobs, the Fassbender version, and he was talking about the fact that he wanted for there to be a system that was not compatible with everything else on the market, so that they would need loyal to the brand in order to keep up with the latest expansions, additions, accessories, etc. And you already know that because look at this. We started with Macintosh computers to Apple computers to iMac to iPads, iPods, iPhones, all of it. And then of course, every time the chargers change, we all run out and buy the accessories, right? Just like that, right? So he created something, but it started off in his imagination. He saw what was already existing in the world and he decided he was going to do something a little bit different. The same thing for freaking, oh my gosh, umbrellas for drinks. Who did that? And somebody somewhere is a millionaire. Toothpicks, right? I'm sure that was a mistake, but then that became $1 million idea. Cornflakes were a mistake. Peanut butter was a mistake. All these mistakes, and they didn't mean to do it, but it ended up being a hit. And then all those people who created something on purpose and they were a hit. I mean, for there to be Lego, you guys, with moving pieces, and then now we have light up Mario pieces as well. Like, there is no limit to our creativity because our imagination is just limitless. And I think it's really important for us to dream a little bit every day, to really focus on what life could be if we had these kinds of conveniences. I swear I've come up with all kinds of ideas that I didn't have the means to put into place, and then suddenly here it was on the market being sold by somebody else. I swear. From back in the day when I was living in Yogoville, which is out in the country in Virginia, right? Buckingham County, in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing but deer and bears and foxes and snakes and shit. And I remember having to drive all the way home sometimes. There is a stretch of land between Charlottesville through Scottsville, or even from Farmville side, right, through Dinwiddie County. Danville? I can't remember. Shit. Whatever. Anyway, so there's this bit of land between Farmville and Yogoville, and then there's this bit of land between Charlottesville and Yogoville from two different directions, right? And there's nothing but country. There are no gas stations. There are no traffic lights. There's nothing but country roads and a bunch of cows and some, people and their farm properties and stuff. So if you needed to pee, you shit out of luck. And I was thinking, you know what? If I could just bring a funnel with me, then I could pee on the side of the road and I wouldn't feel so stupid because I am female and I can't pee standing up yet. But if I could do that, God, my life would be easier and I wouldn't have to hold it until I got all the way home. It was like at least a half an hour stretch of land, right? And then all of a sudden, here we are with these camping gadgets that you can now buy and pee wherever you want to because you don't have to pop a squat under a tree somewhere and feel awkward. So these are the things, right? You have imagination. You have ideas that kind of come to you based on the way you use things. I'm a big fan, by the way, of not decorating a house once you move into it until you've started to live in it for a little while. Like, obviously you need your clothes in a place and a bed in a place, but eventually you don't put things on the wall until you look at how you use the space. And I think that's so cool and so interesting to me because maybe when I come into the space, I see one thing, but as I move around in the space, I feel a different way. And then my imagination takes over. For example, when I moved into my mom's house, there was nothing but two mattresses on the floor and a bunch of really old cupboards. And I don't know, it was good. I mean, I had a place to stay, right? I wasn't complaining. But eventually, as I got some money and I decided I was going to go on a shopping spree, I decided I was going to go ahead and dress up my room. So then I got dressers and I got a wardrobe and I got two beds. And then, of course, I was running out of storage space. So I thought, okay, let's jack up the bed so we have storage space underneath the bed itself. And as I was living, I thought, okay, I need a desk. I need somewhere where I can do my work, because the last thing I want is to do my work on my bed. And so then my body is a little confused about where my energy is meant to be. You know that feeling when you watch TV in bed all the time and then suddenly some days you can't fall asleep because that's the way you use your bed. You don't use your bed to fall asleep. You use your bed to do everything and to fall asleep. So it's really about streamlining your energy. And so I figured I was going to put a desk in my room. And I put it in front of the window at first because I thought, great light and I could, really focus on my work. But as I started doing my work, as I started using video more and more, I realized I can't do it like that. The light in my face is great and everything, but then the background looks crazy because you got the back of my door with a bunch of clothes hanging, which, okay, I could change it if I really wanted to, but I thought, okay, it's better if I move and rearrange the room in such a way so that the beds are closer to the window and my desk is against a wall or with my back to a wall so that I can actually change the backdrop and do whatever I need to do for my videos. So little by little, my life evolved, but it all came down to imagination. How do I use my space? How do I go about my life? What do I need to make my life easier? And that's where the imagination kind of came into play. For me personally, the imagination also took over when I realized I didn't have the best solution for taking care of my kid while I did work to, generate income. So working for another person in a place far away from home, not a good idea. At some point, I decided I was going to move my child closer to my workplace, so her school was in Al Mokyo and my work was down the street from the school, so if anything happened, I could rush there and get to her very quickly. I didn't have to go all the way close to home to get to her, but that also meant the commute was really, really difficult at some point. Eventually, of course, I decided I wasn't going to work for anybody else because they continually pushed the limit on what time I left work and how I got home to her. And I found myself spending less and less time with her, more and more time on commutes and work. Even then, I was working from home for work, off hours, all of that. It was freaking irritating. And finally, I said enough is enough. And I was like, you know what? I can't find the kind of job that would let me take care of my child the way I want to. So I'm about to create the kind of job that lets me take care of my kid the way I want to. And then Rasatwan was born. Okay, originally I wanted to have a company. I had the company license for 2 years before I did anything with it. And guess what? It wasn't the company I originally thought I was going to make. Originally, I thought I was going to make a bunch of t-shirts and sell those through the company. And guess what? I ended up being an emotional intelligence coach, a teacher of all things emotions and feelings and human relations 101 and communication and understanding people. So I love what I do because it came very naturally to me. And I love that I set my own timings and I set my own space because for a long time, baby girl was not even in student care. When she finished school, I would go pick her up and bring her back home, and we would have our own sweet time where we hung out and did homework and worked on extra stuff, and then she'd go down to the playground and I would resume my work. Eventually she'd come home, we'd have dinner, put her to bed, and then I'd resume my work. So that flexibility I created for myself because my imagination gave me that leeway. My imagination gave me the creative solutions that I needed at the time because the solutions I needed didn't exist yet. So I think it's amazing that imagination really is everything. The fact that we can actually watch TV in color where once upon a time we couldn't. The fact that we can have a projector in our room and I could actually lay on my bed and project on the ceiling if I wanted to, where once upon a time we couldn't. All of these things, these modern conveniences are born out of imagination. So don't knock your dreaming. Don't knock the fact that you want to dream. You want to sit around and speculate on things and see how some things work and some things don't. But while you notice what doesn't work, see about imagining an improvement that might make it work even better, or maybe a shortcut. I think lazy people are amazing because they find creative solutions to get things done without actually lifting that much of a finger, and that's where all of this genius comes from. So if you haven't done so already, I would love for you to put aside 10 minutes today just to dream and see what you come up with. Even if it's not dreaming, maybe you want to just go search on Google and whatever and see what catches your eye, see what makes you excited again about life. What is it that makes you happy? Is it music? Is it art? Is it creating? Is it consuming? Is it reviewing stuff? I mean, there are plenty of people that make a living reviewing stuff on YouTube. So whatever it is, go dream a little bit. Go follow your curiosity down the yellow brick road. Hopefully not down too big of a rabbit hole, but follow your curiosity, figure out what your passion is, and get to work. Because guess what? I'm building my dream a little bit at a time. And man, it feels good. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.